For the next hour, deepen your shade of green. This is the Shades of Green radio show, featuring the latest in technology, money-saving ideas, legislative updates, and all things green. The Shades of Green radio show is presented by the Green Alliance. Now here's your hosts, Paul Ira and Stan Hannell.
Sitting in for Paul Ira, our host, we have on the call Stan Hannell. Hello, Stan. Good morning.
Good morning, Annette. How are you doing today?
Good. And you're in sunny California, I take it.
Yes, it is sunny.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we have, once again, some amazing guest speakers on our show today as Shades of Green, which is produced by the Green Alliance. And we're excited to have Southwest Gas in the studio. And James Stein, who is the manager of Energy Solutions. And we also have Michael Cooper, who is the manager of Energy Solutions as well. They're going to be here to talk about all of the wonderful programs that have come out that are new, hitting 2019, and bring in some information to our listeners on how they can save energy and how they can save money. So with that said, James, good morning.
Morning, Annette. How are you doing?
Good.
How are you doing this morning?
Good, good. And Michael, good morning to you too.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. How about if we do this? James, if you don't mind, just give me a little bit of background, how long you've been with Southwest Gas and what your role is.
Okay. I've been with Southwest Gas almost 17 years now. I'm a local UNLV engineering grad. Been primarily focused on the, all market sectors from the energy solutions side of the house. So I've worked on the residential, commercial, all the way up to the large commercial, industrial side of the house. In the last few years, I've spent some time on the economic development, handling growth and through kind of some non-traditional methods. So it's kind of background on myself, and I'll hand over to Coop.
And myself, I'm also a UNLV grad. I've been with the company for a little bit more than 10 years officially. Prior to that, I had the opportunity to be an intern for Southwest Gas for a couple of years, as well as other organizations around the valley. Initially, my background was working a lot in the engineering group and engineering department, and I was able to get an opportunity to be able to switch over to the business side, dealing with the large key account customers and the kind of more progressive ends of our industry as of late.
Thank you. And surprise, Paul Ira, I'm back. Had a little traffic this morning. Slowed me down there playing bumper cars out there on the 515. So I had to go around a lot of that. So sorry I'm late. Good morning, everybody. As you said, we're talking with James Stein and Michael Cooper. Thanks, Annette, for filling in there for a couple minutes for me. And we're talking Southwest Natural Gas and what's going on over there. Tell us a little bit about what role natural gas in sustainability and self-energy efficiency future. How's that all playing in together?
How much time do you have?
We've got 4 9-minute segments well into that first one.
Awesome. Well, I start first with the company and our culture and how that ties into the big picture as far as sustainability, and then I think it'd be worthwhile to dig into the national level. And so at Southwest Gas, we're a distribution company, and we have more than 2 million commercial and residential customers throughout Nevada, Arizona, and pockets of California. And as members of the communities that we serve, we continue to strive to be examples in building a sustainable future for all of us. And truly, sustainability is at the core in everything that we do as a company. And part of this, in the same alignment with that, early last year, Southwest Gas announced our goals of reaching a 20% overall reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2025. We're focusing on, it's multiple different ways to go about doing this, and really it's going to be a collaborative effort between all of our areas within our company. But 3 of the big pillars that we're going to be focusing on are going to be in facilities, our fleets, and in our field procedures. In order for us to be able to do it from the facility standpoint, things like using efficient technology, strategic placement of windows and natural lighting. On the fleet standpoint, then it's going to be implementing replacements of our existing vehicles or conversions to CNG vehicles, which are much more energy efficient. And then also as far as a field procedure, which is a whole different area of the company that I don't dabble in too much anymore, there are going to be opportunities for us to be able to streamline some of our processes in the field to be much more in alignment with being more green.
Let's talk about fleet just a little bit. Let's drill down there. How's the fleet conversion going? Do we see a lot of cars going CNG?
Yes, I actually drove over. I think all of us drove over here in the CNG vehicles this morning.
Well, thank you.
Yes, definitely. And so we're aggressively going and doing lots of conversions as it is right now with our fleet. And we foresee that going on into as we get new vehicles also. And it was a kind of an internal process where we looked at the mileage of the vehicles, and if it still had a significant amount or a reasonable amount of utilization left in the vehicle, then that was one that we targeted to be able to do the conversion on. Some of our vehicles are getting towards the end of their lifespan, and so it doesn't make an economic sense to be able to convert those over. And so those will either be replaced with CNG vehicles whenever we need to replace those, or we will replace them with even a more energy efficient or a more efficient vehicle, as far as the emissions go.
Sure, that's great. Do you think they're expanding CNG vehicles as fast as we are electric vehicles? Is there a comparison there?
Yeah, I think there definitely is an expansion going on. I think there's two different sectors when you look at as far as the vehicles that you really are targeting. On the electric side, you get lots of the small passenger vehicles that you're seeing a lot of growth and expansion going on right now. And on the CNG side, one real good area of opportunity that we've had a lot of success in, and we've been able to help facilitate with our customers, have been in their bigger fleet vehicles. Regionally here, just to name a few, RTC, the refuge companies, as far as Republic Service, and it's lots of companies that we've been able, and UPS, that we've been able to help to be able to convert their fleets over to CNG. And alone, we were able to deliver, I think, about 10 million gallons of, or actually 14 million therms of clean burning CNG towards our customers in 2017, which was able to offset about 10 million gallons of diesel, which when you do more calculations, it equates to removing 5,000 passenger vehicles off of the roadways from a greenhouse gas emission reduction standpoint. And that's just talking within our area,
just in your company,
within our company alone.
Really?
Yes.
That's a lot. That's
Yes.
a lot. I've done a lot of energy efficiency work, and we kind of measure the success of our work on the greenhouse side in how many vehicles we reduce. So that's a lot for one company. Do you see a benefit of converting over new vehicles? I'm interested that you're converting vehicles. That's great, of course. And I attended the Clean Energy Summit 10 years ago when T. Boone Pickens said if they converted all of the 18-wheelers to compressed natural gas, that we would cut our $700 billion dependency in half. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's happened yet. So I'm interested in how is there a benefit over cars, trucks versus cars, I guess is what I'm getting at. Probably because they use more fuel.
Well, I think it's going to be more of a case by case. I know in our companies we have a lot of Ford Explorers and F-150s and the big pickup trucks. And so we've been able to link up with a company that has a kit ready to go, kind of a turnkey approach. And so kind of a turnkey approach. And so for those applications, it makes sense for us to be able to do a conversion versus some of the bigger ones. You may have to go and get a turnkey ready solution off of the shelves.
Okay. Well, let's talk some more about that when we come back to Shades of Green on KDWN. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Good morning, and we are back to Shades of Green on KDWN 720 AM and 101.5 FM here in the Valley of Sun and Sin. We were talking to James Stein and Michael Cooper, who are energy managers for Southwest Gas. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And, of course, we have the lovely Annette Bubak recording us for Facebook Live. If our callers have questions you'd like to call in and talk with these folks at 702-257-5396. That's 702-257-KDWN. We also have Stan on the line. Stan, are you there?
Yes. How you doing, Paul?
Marvelous. Yourself?
Doing well also. Thank you. Good conversation there.
Good. Thank you. And so we'd like to also point out that our show is produced by the Green Alliance of Nevada. And I am your host, Paul Ira. So, gentlemen, we were talking about converting vehicles to compressed natural gas and also replacing vehicles with compressed natural gas vehicles. Let's talk a little more about that, and then I'm going to go into this thing you call RNG.
Okay.
So how many vehicles do you have that are converted, and what do you see is it extend the lifespan or anything like that?
As far as the exact numbers, I honestly don't have the exact numbers on me. It's a different area in our fleet that really gets into all of that. I know that my entire team, all of our vehicles are being converted over from my team, and so it's a pretty decent percentage. And it's in some vehicles it may not make sense for in our fleet, but all of ours, when it does make sense, though, we're aggressively pushing for this. to be able to do these conversions, to be able to meet our greenhouse gas emission standards reductions.
Good, good. So tell us a little bit about the renewable natural gas, or RNG.
Okay. And so RNG really is something that we're very excited about because it's a new emerging technology that allows for us to be able to provide a carbon neutral gas back into our system and give our customers another option outside of the traditional natural gas. And so what RNG is, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's natural gas you're able to capture from farms, from wastewater treatment facilities if they have a digester, and from landfills. And you're able to capture the methane from those processes. And this gets very complicated, so I won't go into the specifics, but you're able to capture the methane from those processes, clean it back up, and inject it back into our system to be able to use it. And once I said before, like, it's a carbon neutral option. This is very new technology, and even the scrubbing is very labor intense, and it's a very long lead items we're finding out ourselves. But I'm very proud to say that in all of our service territories, we have multiple projects that we're aggressively in the middle of in different phases. And so we anticipate being able to have this option available for our customers in all of our territories in the very near future.
So do you pursue those kind of projects with the like the water reclamation plants?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. I know I worked with Clark County Water Rec, and they don't have digesters, so they couldn't do it.
They don't, but there's other water rec facilities in the valley that do have digesters. And there were even discussions about potentially moving some of the fog from the ones that don't have digesters to those sites that have digesters to be able to help accelerate the process and increase the amount of RNG that we're able to produce from those sites.
Yeah, we did have a discussion about a pipeline from the Las Vegas facility to the Clark County facility, because they are, the way the crow flies, relatively close. So
Yes.
That would be a good thing to do. So what are the national implications of
RNG? I think there's a lot of discussion going on right now about electrification, and I think that natural gas is a part of the overall long-term vision for sustainability and being, conservative with our resources. And in California, for example, there is a big push for electrification, and there's even been all kind of mandates about 100% electrification within that region. But there's a recent study that came out, and if you look at the actual data, there may be more efficient ways for us to be able to be more efficient. And I think it's not going to be a magic bullet in the form of one energy source or other, but I think it's going to be a combination of multiple different things that we bring together in new technology that's going to allow for us to be able to meet our goals and be more energy efficient. And so there's a new study that came out that I found very interesting, and it says that if you replace less than 20% of the traditional gas supply that's in California with RNG, you can achieve the greenhouse gas emission reductions that is equivalent to going 100% electrification for all the buildings in California.
Really?
Yes.
Just 20% of the vehicles?
No, less than 20% of the gas in the pipeline.
Oh, in the pipeline.
In the pipeline,
okay.
with RNG. And so what that does is, that's much more feasible. When you talk about the economics associated with going with electrification and all of that, the infrastructure issues they're having already in California, you have a long-standing infrastructure of natural gas within all of our states. And so you're able to utilize these assets that are already there and kind of bridge the gap. And then there's a whole nother discussion, I don't want to take up all the time, but dealing with the power to gas transition, where there's ways for you to even utilize the benefits they're having and the things that's going on the power side from the solar and wind generation, and any of that excess capacity that's not being used right now by the grid. You're able to do a process called electrolysis, able to convert and pull out the methane from those processes, store it in a natural gas infrastructure that's already there. And then whenever you do need to be able to fill the gaps and get more power production than what's being done by the solar or the wind, then you can use this carbon neutral source for natural gas to be able to generate electricity. So it's kind of a full circle and different things you can do to truly be more efficient.
Yeah, storage is kind of the ticket. If you can get to the point where we can store too, so then during the day when you're using solar, you can store that natural gas and use it at night.
Yes.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about planning new facility projects and all the things that apply to that.
Okay. So as Michael touched on, from a sustainability standpoint, we've looked at the CNG, the RNG. There's a lot of other things that we look at, as a company, and when planning new facilities, that goes into solar canopies mounted on parking structures, rainwater collection, zero-scape, software-controlled LED lighting. So a lot of different things that we're doing, across the board. Also, we can daylight harvesting and motion sensors. These are all things that we're doing, within our own buildings from a sustainability standpoint, things that we talk to our customers about as well when working with them.
Good. So you're committed to the citizens and the corporate responsibility around the valley and what have you. What are some of the exciting things you're doing that's making a difference?
Well, I think that's what we're calling at our company ESG, right? Our environmental, social, and government. So a lot of things that we're doing there, that shows that we're committed and great corporate citizens and trying to be responsible citizens in our areas. So things such as pipeline emissions is something that we monitor very closely. Something that's good for us is, natural gas came to Nevada in 1953, so it's relatively new across the board, and we've replaced older pipelines along the way. But so we monitor those, and we're always watching for any potential leaks or anything like emission issues like that as well. Damage prevention is very important to us as well. Oops,
We lost a caller.
we lost the color there. Yeah, so.
Stan's gone.
Okay. Yeah, so
You were keeping them engaged, James.
sorry about that. And then, from a social arm, on the ESG side, we just want to remain responsible corporate citizens through the community. We do a lot of different things from a company standpoint. We have something called Fuel for Life, where employees participate in giving back to the community and local charities. Kind of a big success of ours was we donated over $2.1 million to local charities in 2018. So that's pretty big, from our employee standpoint, everyone giving back. And, what's kind of neat about that is it comes directly out of our employees' paychecks, and 100% of that goes to charities.
Wow, that's great. What kind of participation rate do you have with that?
The participation rate is 81%.
Wow, that's almost everybody then.
Yeah,
isn't
so
it?
majority of our employees are taking part in this Fuel for Life campaign that we have. In the last 6 years, we've given back over, almost $10 million to 300 charitable organizations.
Well, that's great. And having it taken right out of your check, that shows real commitment.
Yes. It does. It really does.
That's really good stuff. So tell us a little bit quickly about the Blue effort.
So we have a Blue effort that we have at Southwest Gas. It's building lives up everywhere. And once again, just showing our dedication to giving back to the community. Our employees volunteer basically to be donate their time doing charitable work in all these different areas, from planting trees, parks, stuff like that. So just kind of some quick stats. We've planted 600 trees, restored 4,500 books, and collected more than 3,000 blankets for, different folks in the valley.
So your employees are giving money and time. That's
time,
good stuff.
yes.
Let's talk some more about this when we come back to Shades of Green on KDWN. We'll be right back. Good morning, and we are back to Shades of Green on KDWN 720 AM. Our show is produced by Green Alliance of Nevada, and I am your host, Paul Ira. In studio from Southwest Gas, we have a couple of energy managers, James Stein and Michael Cooper. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
When we went to break, we were talking about your program Blue, and you also have a program Fuel, which is your employee donation, and Blue is building lives up everywhere. Let's talk about those two programs. What are the difference between those programs?
So the Fuel for Life program is really, like you said, a donation program. So our employees are donating back through their paychecks to different charitable organizations, within our service territory. And the Blue, Building Lives Up Everywhere, is an employee volunteer program. So employees volunteer their time to do different charitable, work, such as, like I said earlier, planting trees, weatherizing homes for local seniors in need, enhancing elementary schools that have been adopted by, our business and more. So we have two different programs there. It's really donating time and donating money, and a lot of employees opt to take part in both.
That's great. And helping the schools, appreciate that a lot. They need all the help they can get. So if someone needed a charitable donation from you guys, how would they contact you? How could they get engaged with you?
So we have a Fuel for Life committee, and I think it's a 2 or 3 year term. Sorry if I don't know all the details there, but there's a committee that goes out and they interview and kind of vet all the different charitable organizations every year, and it's a two-year agreement that they have with us. So we'll go out and we'll meet with the different organizations, and all the organizations kind of do their little spiel on what they do and how they give back to the community, and then we bring that back into the office and they sit down and they decide which ones will qualify. I don't have the exact number that we do every year, but we try and rotate through and make sure that we're donating to all these different organizations year in and year out.
Okay, good stuff. So they go to southwestgas.com and find out more information on that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about energy efficiency programs, and what are your efforts there as a way of energy efficiency and rebates, for example?
I guess conservation and energy efficiency are vital in improving the sustainability of our environment. And so conservation at Southwest Gas, personally, and at the company, we believe that all of these efforts start at home and your efforts at work. And so you can go to our website before we get into the specifics of the different programs we have available. But we can go to our website and we have all kind of tips that customers and people who use energy in general can use and look at to be able to change some of their subtle habits to have big impacts to the environment and to the savings for them personally. As far as, I guess most of the audience here is based out of Nevada, right? That's the audience that we're talking to.
Well, it's pretty interesting. We got a call one day, and a guy asked a solar question. I said, "Where are you calling from?" He said, "Rockford, Illinois."
Why not? Okay, all right,
so
sounds good.
We're 50,000 watts, so we're pretty live out here.
Okay.
We cover a lot of territory, so we definitely cover all of Nevada.
Okay,
yes, sir.
well, I cover Nevada, some of the exciting things that we have, because we have some new rebates fresh off the presses right now. And then I can dabble a little bit into Arizona and some of the other opportunities we have in California within our sectors. And so,
tell us some of your rebates right here in Nevada that people can participate in.
So some of the rebates in Nevada, we're offering rebates on tankless water heaters for both home and business, as well as multiple rebates on commercial kitchens and businesses. There's also rebates on water space heating equipment, weatherization improvements, low flow water fixtures, food services equipment, CHP systems, solar thermal water heating systems also. It's a wide range, and I want to sound like a broken record, but southwestgas.com or swgas.com is where all of our rebate specifics and all the small fine print are there. Some of our rebates are prescriptive, where it's set up where for this type of equipment or this model, you get X amount of money back. And then in Arizona, for example, we have a custom rebate option where you're able to go and if you're able to quantify your baseline, and you can come up with something that's outside of what we thought of as far as the rebates or we've got approval for rebates, then there's a custom approach where if we can quantify the savings in therms per year that you for these changes, then you're able to get a certain dollar amount per therm in savings.
Well, some of these are new this year too, aren't they? Some of these rebate offerings?
Yes.
Well, that's good. And homeowners need to know that this is good stuff. We try to do, we live this world, so we do it all ourselves if we can. Homeowners need to know that swgas.com can give you some good money-saving tips and some ideas on how to improve. And if you're buying a new home, you have rebate offers for new construction too, don't you?
Well, I was going to say that too. If you're in the market for a new home, definitely make sure that you ask your builders if they're working with Southwest Gas to be able to make sure that they're getting the best bang for the buck as far as their savings on energy stuff too. And so.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. And I spent some time in our residential side, and Annette, we've worked together over the years on that residential side. One thing that we're very proud of at Southwest Gas is our, within our core team, our residential sales guys that are working with the builders here in town have really locked up 100% of the builders here in town are building with natural gas to a point of 4 points of use. So water heaters, dryers, cooktops, and space heat. So we've done a very good job. So as Michael touched on with the tankless water heaters, that's a very popular program for our developers that are building homes. So a lot of them are building with tankless water heaters, and that program, many over the years has really ran out of money because it's been so successful.
Yeah, I guess speaking of the money, over the past few years, we've spent $25 million on these programs and ultimately saved 16 million therms in usage behind these efforts. And so we stand by it, and we think that it's definitely good for the environment and good for our customers.
Well, I have a friend who lives locally in an older home, and I was surprised to find out that they are almost 100% electric. Mm-hmm. So do you see much a conversion from electric to natural gas in some of these older homes? It must not have had the pipeline available back in, these are homes built in the 50s.
Yep. So, we do have pockets of homes that are all electric, and when I was referencing the 100%, that's all new construction. Mm-hmm. So over the last, several years, 10, 15 years, those homes have all been built with gas. But, as you're aware, back in 70s or so, there was the moratorium, and there was folks that were built with electric. And we do have a team that goes out and works with those folks and tries to get them to convert to natural gas, replacing appliances where they see fit, and, just basically providing more energy efficient, uses of their power in their homes.
Yeah, these people have electric heating, and for those who don't know, electric heat is very expensive, way more. Like, I run my heat wherever I want it because I got natural gas, and I never spend more than $100. I mean, I'm up $60, $70 a month. And I run it 76, 78 degrees when I'm home. I turn it off when I'm gone because it usually holds because I got new insulation. But converting over to natural gas from electric would save people a lot of money. They're spending as much money in the winter on their heat as they are in the summer on their air conditioning. So it's kind of a big deal. They could find out information on your website?
Yes. If you, like, as Michael references, swgas.com/tips. But if you go through our website, there's a lot of different ways to save energy, and we would love to talk to those folks about converting from electric to natural gas where possible to help save them some money.
And we push this all the time that people need to go to these utility websites. There's a lot of good information on there. Like I said, again, we live this, so it's part of what we do. We're kind of geeky in this area, but going online and looking at your water bill, for example, and when are you using water, and look at your gas bill, when are you using it, and how are you using it, and how much are you spending. And then also, I always have to give the three-legged stool story on efficiency. The first leg is conservation. When you're not using it, turn it off. So that's the best way to save energy. The second is when you're using it, use high-efficiency equipment. And then when you can, use renewable energy to power whatever you're using. So that goes back to your renewable natural gas and renewable energy such as solar.
Sounds like you've seen our website to some extent, Paul, so good job.
I can help you write even further on your website. Happen to be a certified carbon reduction manager and an energy manager. Nice. So this is all good stuff. And I encourage our listeners to go on the utility companies, all the utility companies' websites, and look for efficiency ideas and ways to get rebates, and then ideas on how to upgrade your homes and your travel and everything else. So good stuff there. Tell us a little bit more about some of the specific rebates that are doing the best. What's your biggest rebate?
Well, I'll start real quick with just the residential tankless water heater rebate. That one's been very successful for us. It's
tankless water heaters.
Tankless water heaters, yeah, $225 rebate that qualifies for developers as well as homeowners. So it's been very successful for us.
So that's just natural gas water heaters too, I assume. Okay, thank you. Let's talk some more about that when we come back to Shades of Green on KDWN. We'll be right back. Good morning. We are back to Shades of Green on KDWN, 720 AM and 101.5 FM, the only talk FM radio in the Valley. I'm your host, Paul Ira, and we're in studio with James Stein and Michael Cooper, energy managers from Southwest Gas. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
We were talking earlier about all your rebates and things. Now we want to kind of transition over to tips. What can people do to make their homes or businesses more efficient? And businesses are important here too because they're big users. They're usually a lot larger square footage. So tell us about what's going on there.
Yeah, so we'll continue to take you guys back to our website. We've put a lot into our website over the years. So if you go back to swgas.com/tips, there's a lot of different tips on our website, of different ways you can conserve energy and natural gas as well. One of the big ones that we talk about is, setting your water heater thermostat to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Not preheating your natural gas oven if you don't need to. There's a lot of different ways, to conserve. Natural gas clothes dryers, I think many people know, how efficient those are. But, drying full loads versus having oversized loads or, only having a couple things in a dryer, wasting all that energy. So, a little bit of planning, takes a little bit of planning on that side. But, those are just other ways to save and conserve. Another one I think we talked about a little bit was, you talked about turning off your thermostat when you're not home or setting it back. We see a 10% annually savings by turning your thermostat back 10 to 15%, 8 hours a day. So when you leave for work in the morning, set that thing back. If you don't have a programmable thermostat already, that's another way of just installing a programmable thermostat and having it do it for you.
We've had NV Energy on the show many times, and all I can say is shame on you if you don't have a free programmable thermostat.
Exactly. They do offer those for free. So
they also do, I know, be waving their flag too much, but they also do a free audit. So they'll come in and also show how to save on natural gas as well. So yep. What other ideas? We talked a little bit about solar thermal And for those of us who have pools, that would be much better use than to go with a boiler.
Yeah. Well, just to piggyback on, you made a comment there about NV Energy and their going out and doing inspections. So Southwest Gas has teamed up with NV Energy on some of that as well. So we'll be doing kind of combined audits. So, you get to see those in the future moving forward.
Good to see you working across the aisles like that.
Yep, we do try our best.
All good.
And as far as solar thermal, we do have those programs available in all of our territories. Here in Nevada in particular, you're able to, in all the specifics, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but we're very proud of our website.
Please do.
And so swgas.com, in our rebates section, we have all the specifics about our rebates. But solar thermal in particular is one where you're able to get the $24 per therm back as far as from the savings that you're able to gain from going with a solar thermal option or a setup in your house. And so definitely reach out or go to our website first and foremost, and then it has all the instructions there for you to be able to reach out to get to the appropriate person within our organization to be able to walk you through the process and make sure that you have all the paperwork and everything ready to go to give you money back for these energy efficient efforts.
And so our listeners understand where solar thermal is used. You can use that for your domestic hot water, the water you shower with. You can use it for heating your pool as well. So that's two different systems. You have like design ideas on your website that talk about like domestic hot water and what a system might look like?
It's lots of options out there. And really, when you talk about solar thermal hot water, solar heating, it's not just from the residential side. You also have opportunities for those same types of systems on the commercial side too. And so, as far as the design options, lots of that is really going to be case by case based on your setup, your scenario, and your demand, and the amount of space you have as far as the solar square footage you're going to be able to set up. And so we have tips on our website, and we have specifics as far as, what the plan is going to give you money back for. And for us to be able, we can work with you directly and give some ideas and lessons learned from ones that we've seen. And that's probably the best approach to really get into the weeds on that, because it really is very broad what that looks like and case by case.
So in manufacturing, for example, there are a lot of processes that use hot water and sometimes really hot water. I got to believe that if you put solar thermal up on a process like that, you could at least preheat the water going to their high temperature heaters and help cut their costs considerably. Every
little bit adds up. Definitely.
Do you see much manufacturing or industrial applications for solar thermal?
We do see a wide range of them. And here locally, we have lots of the casinos and stuff. And so you're seeing a big push with solar being implemented, across different companies that's utilizing it. So definitely.
So you can definitely use it in the kitchen, use it in the laundry. How about hospitals, healthcare? Are you seeing them coming up to speed with solar thermal?
Yes, definitely. And actually hospitals are one of our larger larger customers, because water heating and natural gas is one of the dominant fuel sources for water heating, and it's very important from a sanitation standpoint, making sure that everything is disinfected correctly, having the appropriate temperatures for your water that you're using, steaming things. And so natural gas is a very efficient and environmentally friendly way for hospitals to be able to meet those requirements.
And how about cogeneration?
Oh, yes, we have that. One big project here that is really kind of I guess you can call it the mecca, is the cogeneration facility at City Center. Not a lot of people are really aware of the great things that facility has been able to do. If you look at their campus, they have a lot of multiple different buildings for City Center, as well as it's called the Park now, and New York, and then even the T-Mobile Arena. These are all big fixtures of our city, but all of them are benefiting from the cogeneration facility that is behind the strip. And they have all kind of water loops. You talk about water. For space heating and for water heating and cooking, they have loops that run throughout their whole campus tied to this cogeneration facility, which is as an engineer geek you mentioned earlier, if that doesn't get you excited, then nothing else ever will within the valley, at least. And so they have all that set up, and really being able to see the profiles and the demands on these different sites as a result of this cogeneration facility is very remarkable, the savings they've been able to reach with that alone.
And a little bit out of the box, maybe. We've talked a little bit about community planning and planned communities and sharing rides and sharing vehicles and that kind of thing. Do you see a future where you could have a cogeneration plant and that would feed multiple homes within a community and provide hot water and even use the solar thermal to generate electricity?
Yeah, so that's something that we've looked at over the years and continue to look at. We've talked to some developers about doing something like that, kind of micro turbines maybe into smaller subdivisions or smaller areas. We've looked at that, and we continue to have those discussions with our developers out there to see what kind of opportunity exists.
So it's kind of like a microgrid, but
Yes.
for heat instead of electricity. Yep. Do you see that application being used anywhere already, or are you any projects you're working on like that?
So down on the Las Vegas Strip, there is a central kind of a district central plant that does sell hot water and domestic hot water and domestic chill water and whatnot. So that does exist here in town. Some of the central plants for some of these properties are owned by separate companies, so they sell off the BTUs to the casinos and hotels themselves.
Okay, so you're doing this in what we like to call the resort industry.
Yes.
So you see it going into the residential anytime soon?
If we have our way, yes. We'll continue to push down those avenues and those roads to see what we could do. We'd like to create the power, kind of that site versus source discussion that we have, and sell them power as well as hot water.
I've brainstormed about this with architects and city planners, as well as these new planned communities where they're developing a community so you're walking to work, and so you don't have to ride the bus or drive a car or anything. That would be a perfect application, especially in a lot of these where we're getting pretty condensed high-rise buildings. Why we wouldn't put would we call it a micro loop? A micro loop of water heating so that people don't have to be using electricity or natural gas. They could do a solar thermal loop that way and use that. Well, gentlemen, we really appreciate your time today. This has all been a great topic, and appreciate all the tips and everything you've given us. So thanks for being on the show. We've got a couple announcements. Don't forget, Greenfest is April 20th. Again at Summerlin, 9 to 5, a lot of fun. Don't forget the beer garden. Bring the kids, not to the beer garden, but because there's going to be a playground out there. We'll have live music. And for those of you who are not a member of the Green Alliance yet, go on greenalliancenv.org and become a member. And we'll see you next week on Shades of Green on KDWN. Keep it green out there.